Big discussion about ESAs recently. Our own Shira Tanzer has written a story about the actual cost of the ESA program. Opponents of ESAs have said that it's costing now $1 billion. And when you do the math, it isn't $1 billion. Some are saying it's around $700 million, still a large sum of money. So anytime we have questions about the ESA program, we turn to our friend from Love Your School, Jenny Clark. She's with us now. Jenny, it's good to talk to you again.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk, if you don't mind, let's address this finance issue first. I don't know if you've seen the story, but opponents of the ESAs are now saying they've crossed over the $1 billion mark. That's been debunked a little bit. Can you talk about the real cost of the ESA program?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for those of you who aren't familiar, the ESA program is a scholarship that is only 90% of the Arizona per student funding, and parents can use those dollars to take their child out of a traditional public school system and to a micro school, a private school, a homeschool environment. The average ESA is only $7,500. The average per student spending in Arizona, all included, is around $15,000. And so every time a student goes onto an ESA, taxpayers save. Now, the total cost of the program, it's going up and it's going to continue to go up. But in the end, Arizona taxpayers are saving dollars. Do you want to know what the cost would be if all of the kids on the ESA program went back to the public school system? I got news for you. It would be way more than $1 billion.
So when these numbers came out, the opponents were using an average, but what they were averaging and also the students that are special needs students who get who classically the ESA program, for those that don't know, started out for the families of special needs students. And sometimes the dollars allocated to those families, depending on the need of the child, was in excess of $20,000. And isn't that where the mix-up happened in the math?
Yes, there's been a lot of mix-ups in the math, especially from the current governor's administration. But you're absolutely right. Some students that have a disability, let's say a student with autism, they receive significantly more money in the public school system or if they're on an ESA. So when folks tried to do some averages about projections about how much money ESA was going to cost the state, they went a lot higher than they should have because they included both students with no disability at $7,500 and students with a disability whose ESAs can be $20,000 or more. But Mike, the bottom line here is that Arizona families want control of their children's education. They want to be able to take these scholarships and give their kids the education that they deserve. In some cases, that's the public school system, and that's incredible. But in other cases, families want to be able to go to a private school. And I don't think families should be limited by their income or their zip code.
And isn't it, and I want to make sure we reiterate, the original program of ESAs was only to families of students with special needs, and the dollars are the same. They were allocated this high dollar amount, and no one had an issue with it because we want those children to have the best opportunity at a great education as well. But then applying that same thought process to every parent of every child, that you know your child's specific needs better than anyone and you're best equipped, that seems to me to be a great tool we'd want every parent to have.
It is a great tool that we want every parent to have. And there are so many incredible organizations out there that have looked at the finances around the ESA issue. The Goldwater Institute, Common Sense Institute, looking at who are the families that are on the ESA program. Students with disabilities still make up a massive percentage of families on the ESA program. There's a higher percentage of students with disabilities on an ESA than in the traditional public school system. But in the end, Arizona's funding of the ESA program is tied to our overall funding of education. It's part of the K-12 budget. Arizona spends more money on education than anything else in the budget. The question now is, do we think kids should be trapped in only public schools, or should families get options to go elsewhere? I think families should have options.
So let's address a couple of other things that are not directly connected to ESA, but ESAs may be as popular as they are because of the issues. Teacher shortages and the things that we are seeing with now school closures and drops in enrollment. How do we address the teacher shortage issue? Because I would say money is a part of that, but what do we need to do to obtain and retain quality teachers in our school system, in your opinion?
Well, if you look at a lot of the research out there that's been done related to why teachers are leaving the classroom, yes, money is always an issue, and we need to figure out why. When we spend so much money on education in Arizona, it's getting spent on administration and not getting to teachers and to the classrooms. So that's number one. But one of the other number one issues is classroom discipline. You have so many schools that are focusing on so many other issues other than education, other than the classroom. And a lot of teachers that we talk to who support the ESA program are saying, I can't discipline these children. My classrooms are chaotic. We're focusing on things like social emotional learning and not focusing on education and knowledge. And so that is a key part of teacher retention as well, both in Arizona and across the country. And we have to acknowledge those issues.
As families learn about the ESAs, which both of us had suspected was going to happen, as more knowledge was out there about the ESA program and the availability to parents, we knew it was going to increase in popularity because a lot of parents want to make sure their children have the best education possible. What do you anticipate happening in the near future? Is it going to continue to grow? Do you believe this program continues to expand?
I believe the program will continue to expand. Listen, we have declining birth rates in Arizona, and we have for over 10 years. So that's the main situation behind some of these public school closures. But we also are growing an amazing free market in education. And so with more choices comes more opportunity for parents to choose something that works better for their kids. But still, the largest number of students that are leaving the public school system in, let's say, one district, they're actually usually leaving for another public school. That's called open enrollment. So for example, Paradise Valley Unified, they lose more students to Scottsdale Unified than they do to Arizona's ESA program. And that's okay. We want parents to have choices. But I think the ESA program will continue to grow. Parents are very concerned about what kids are learning in the classroom. They're very concerned about Arizona reading and math scores, and they want to make sure their kids are getting off on the right foot.
Your organization and you personally are such a great resource for families that have questions about education options. And there are so many out there that you listed at the beginning. Can you tell people how to find you so that they can get those questions answered to make the best decisions for their kids?
Absolutely. So you can find us online at loveyourschool.org. We have an intake form there. We have all sorts of resources, especially for special needs families. If you think your child is struggling, we would love to help you. You can also find us on X or on Instagram, loveyourschoolaz.
Jenny, it's always a pleasure, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, that is Jenny Clark with Love Your School, an organization that actually is doing a lot of great work. In addition to advocating for families and school choice, they actually have the options out there, and they are so knowledgeable about what your options are. Micro school, home school, private school, charter schools. They're going to give you all the information so you can make an educated choice. And I think that's what this is all about, is making the best decision for your children with all the information in front of you. And maybe the public school system is exactly what's right for your child. And that just helps you make the best decisions. So I hope you'll reach out to them.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch and listen to the new season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.